My house growing up was relatively close to Great Falls, Maryland. Access to the falls themselves, at least when I was young, was cut off after Hurricane Agnes went through in 1972. There was access to an area with big stones that was fun to climb and hike, as well as the C&O Canal, so it was a place I went to many times with family or friends. My name is Michelle Gibson. When I started to piece together that waterfalls, and canals as well, were part of the ancient civilization, I looked up Great Falls. This is an aerial image of Mather Gorge. Now I think the spin is how this could be natural, but look at how straight it is. And here is how it looks closer to Earth. And then when I realized that part of the ancient civilization involved canal building, then it becomes logical to see this as a canal rather than natural. This is a picture of C&O Canal at Harper's Ferry. They want us to believe that this was built in the early 1800s. So what is wrong with that date of construction? This is a sophisticated engineering project. As a matter of fact, the C&O Canal parallels the Potomac River through this area for a long distance. What technology existed in America in the late 1700s, early 1800s that could have built a sophisticated project like this? I am not aware of any. According to our history books, the Second Industrial Revolution didn't begin in the United States until the mid-1800s. Master Masons, who were also master astronomers, astrologists, engineers, and hydrologists, were central to the ancient civilization. We know many of their accomplishments in the known megalithic sites, including those along the lines of UNESCO. They left us an incredible legacy, leaving us many mind-boggling wonders that Western experts try to explain but can't. Those experts devise ridiculous explanations to try to illustrate how slaves, ropes, and pulleys could have been used to move multi-ton blocks that are shaped and fitted perfectly. They really don't have a clue. As I like to say, there would be no mysteries in history if we had been taught the true history. The Moors are certainly not given credit for their accomplishments. Aliens are more likely to get credit than Moorish Masons. In my work of revealing what has been hidden, I am going to share many examples through this blog of how the ubiquitous handiwork of these master builders has gone unrecognized, unacknowledged, and unprotected. Their legacy has been suppressed, falsely claimed, and exploited. Before I move on to the main subject of this video, here are examples from a recent trip I took to Peru of first the exquisite masonry of Quillarrumillac, a very ancient site. And of the Coricancha in Cusco, Peru, the navel of the earth. First, let me start off by saying that there are known canal systems and many more unknown canal systems. Let's start with known canal systems. First, actual Venices, top row, Venice, Italy, and Venice, California, and bottom, Venice, Florida. Then places known as Little Venices. Pictured on top is Colmar, France, in Alsace-Lorraine, and bottom, Port Gramade, in the French Riviera. Then some lesser-known places in Europe with a canal system. On top, from left to right, you see Rotterdam in the Netherlands and St. Petersburg, Russia, and on the bottom, Trondheim, Norway. Did you know anything about this? Are similarities of canal layout and design in these photos consistent with what we've been taught about world history? Notice the beautiful reflections of the sky and buildings in the still water of the canals depicted in several photos. The Moors were all about bringing heaven to earth and earth to heaven, harmony and balance in everything they did. Their genius represents the highest potentials of humanity on earth in action. There is also a sophisticated canal system throughout Great Britain, including elevated sections. Here is a photo of an aqueduct in Wales, about which we are told the construction began in 1795 and completed in 1805. What do you think, given the technology we are taught to believe existed at the time? Maybe it coincides with the Industrial Revolution that started in Great Britain around 1760, but construction of this sophisticated engineering feat started only 12 years after the end of the American Revolutionary War in 1783. The next photos are of the Erie Canal and one of an Erie Canal aqueduct. I'm calling this sophisticated engineering and masonry. We are told that the construction of the Erie Canal started in 1817, again well before the beginning of the Industrial Revolution in America in the mid-1800s. And this Erie Canal aqueduct is reminiscent in style, though not scale, to the Welsh aqueduct shown previously. Next are photos of the St. Lawrence Seaway, which is described by Wikipedia as a system of locks, canals, and channels in Canada and the United States that permits ocean-going vessels to travel from the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. The first is through Montreal, and the second is St. Lawrence Seaway, but not specified where. Remember what I keep saying about block-shaped rocks. They are shaped and cut and not natural. Yes, I know it is huge, but it is still not natural. Next, onto unknown canal systems. I'm going to focus on Oklahoma because this is where I have studied it the most, but I believe the canal system was very important to the ancient civilization as a transportation system, in addition to a land-based road system, because it was in fact a maritime civilization. They were as comfortable on the water as on land. I am going to start with these photos taken at the same location at 36th Avenue and Chartel Avenue in northwest Oklahoma City. The first photo on the top left is very reminiscent of what riverbeds look like in Oklahoma, red clay gashes. In the photo on the top right, you will see what looks to be the remains of stonework still in place. And in the bottom photo, you see where the root system appears to be growing out over air. This is as good a place as any to assert my belief that the cement industry is built on pulverizing ancient masonry. It's not supposed to be there in our historical narrative, so we don't even conceive of it, so certain industries can do whatever they want because it doesn't exist. The following pictures are all connected with the Dolisi Quarry, based in Oklahoma, which is a major company providing aggregates, concrete, and products used for building. They are not the only example, but the first I became aware of. This is a photo taken of a roundabout with ancient masonry blocks in the foreground, the road sign saying Cement Plant Road in the middle of the picture, and in the distance you are seeing the cement plant in Clarkdale, Arizona. And there's plenty of ancient masonry everywhere in this area, so they will never ever run out of raw material. This is how massive the ancient civilization was. Lastly, the subject of totally unknown canal systems. I have a picture here of the Oklahoma River, very straight. It looks like a canal. As a result of what I've seen throughout Oklahoma, I believe the remains of a canal system are obscured, or the water flow cut off to the point where former canals are called ravines. Here's a photo at Twin Lakes, which is also a man-made lake and water supply, in Bethel, Oklahoma, near Shawnee, Oklahoma. How big of a stretch is it to see this as an ancient canal? I am ending this video with photos of canals in Cape Town, South Africa. All the examples I have given you in this video on master masons and canals are just scratching the surface, but this should give you a good feel for the information I wish to convey, not only about the monumental nature of the engineering feats of these canals, far beyond the lack of technology we have been taught existed at the time they are alleged to have been built, but also the similarities of canal systems in city layouts and design in various places that is not consistent with the history we have been taught.